What is up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're finally going to do it. I've been promising this for a long time, and it's time because we're running out of time. And I've said time 52 times, and I should restart and not say time all those times, but I'm going to keep all those times in, and we're going to go ahead and go with it. But what we're doing today is we're assessing every silver in MLB The Show and talking about their chances for gold at this point. We got to figure out who we're investing in for the stretch run. There's only a few weeks left, and we got to know who we're going for. So let's just dive right in. This might be a two-parter, AL, NL, but let's just start. Let's see how long I ramble on and how many times I say time. Count. Take a shot. No, don't take a shot every time because you'd already be completely lit. Let's start. Baltimore, you see it here. By the way, I am on the Show Nation market page. I'm just going to go team by team. That way, I might not even click on every player, to be honest. I've got some notes for a few teams, and then I decided, you know what? I'm not going to transcribe all these notes and then do the, like, that's just double the work. So let's go. Let's freeform it. But I do have notes for Baltimore, Boston, and a little bit in New York, so these ones will go quicker, and we'll kind of see how it goes with the others, because I do have to look at some things to kind of assess. Again, we'll kind of see where the stats are. First things first, Hanser Alberto. He's actually somebody I'm kind of looking at. As you can see, he's 2 points away. He leads baseball with a 405 average against lefties since 2019. That's pretty huge. Now, he does have a 90 contact against lefties, but I would think maybe it would merit a bit higher. I know his BABIP is through the roof, but this is 2 years running now that he's been able to maintain that BABIP. There's something that he's doing against lefties that is really clicking. Plus, short season, there's not going to be time necessarily for things to catch up with him. I really think there's some investment potential here. I think he needs more than a 90 contact against lefties. That's really all that he's got going for him that could really get boosted, though. He started off hot against righties, and he's kind of tapered off. That's why he moved up to where he's at right now. But I do think a contact boost against lefties might be worth the 2 points he needs. So I would do kind of a medium investment here. Again, I always talk about the structure of, if you super believe in somebody like Luis Robert, pretty much from the jump this year, or Luke Voigt was one of my guys from jump. That's like a 100, and then you kind of scale down from there based on how much you believe in them. Hanser Alberto is kind of like a 25-30%. I wouldn't put my full portfolio behind him, or a normal size investment in him, or think of it like a blackjack bet or something, or anything else that you would be doing kind of bet sizing. Bring it down with Alberto. Don't go all the way in, because they might just leave him at 90 contact, thinking that the BABIP's going to eventually bring him down. Anthony Santander, I really love his hot start to the season. I'm still hoping he gets a player of the month, because right now he's fizzled with a 581 OPS the last 2 weeks, and now he's out with an oblique strain. I would divest. I have some that I got in the bronze tier, and I'm going to go ahead and turn those into an affinity exchange, or maybe even put in sell orders for them. But I'm out on Santander for now. Renato Nunez, he surged versus righties, but he's dropped versus lefties, so it kind of countered the two. I really don't see 4 points here. John Means has had some interesting advancements with his stuff this year, with his raw stuff, but the results simply haven't been there, so he's a big no. Now let's move on to Boston. Going over to the Red Sox. They've got some interesting candidates. What a weird season they've had. I mean, just a flat-out bad season, to be honest. We know Erod opted out, so he's been stuck at 78 all year. Vasquez was a fast move to gold early in the year, but then a really ugly August cost him that gold tier. A strong finish could do it, but I'm not jumping in. I don't know. I'm kind of wishy-washy on him, leaning toward the no. I'm not going to bother with it. He could be a sneak tip. I mean, obviously there's plenty of investment opportunity as far as the profit potential, but that's because nobody's really in on him because he's not that good. So I'm going to say no there. Now, here's one with Rafael Devers that I think could really be a sneaky investment, and there's even more potential profit, or rather profit potential, with him. He has a 1252 OPS and 3 homers in the last 7 games. He's been great against righties and pretty meh against lefties. Now, that his card already reflects that, but if he continues to stay hot for another week or two, particularly if he adds some work against lefties, but even if he has this same split where he's just crushing righties and kind of mediocre to poor against lefties, there could be some advancement in his verse righty numbers that could get him those 3 points that he needs. So I think he's somebody that I would put a decent 40-50% investment in, and then kind of keep an eye on him. And as long as he keeps going kind of day in, day out, as he's hitting, I'm day trading him. I'm looking at him. He's 3 for 4. Okay, put a little bit more, even if the price kind of trickles upward. As long as you're continuing to get that big price gap between what you're paying for him and 1,000 stubs, which is the quick sell for gold, I would continue to invest in Devers if you deem him a worthy opportunity. I don't have any yet, but I think I'm going to get some to kind of start a little investment pool. Matt Barnes, too many homers, too many walks to get there. I don't see it. And Josh Taylor, frankly, he should be a bronze at this point. I'm not sure why he's even still a silver. Sorry, Josh. Moving over to the Yankees here. And they've got Gleyber Torres. Now, he's only 1 point away, so he feels close, right? But he's not. I think he would need to go nuclear the rest of the way, even at 1 point away, because he's been so bad thus far. He's hitting 235, 347, 309. The power is just not there. He was on the IL for a stint. I'm personally staying away. But if you do go in, please be careful with Gleyber Torres, because it can blow up in your face. And he's not, I guess there is enough of a price split that you're probably not taking that big of a risk with the 709, 421 split, but I would still be careful here because you might just be wasting your time. More than anything else, maybe you don't lose stubs, but you lose the time, and maybe that's worth more than anything else. Now, Tanaka, I'm be keeping a real close eye on Tanaka. In fact, I'm trying to get some orders in on him right now, as you're going to see here when I open up this page, because I'm thinking he's got a really good shot to get there with what he's been doing lately. He's had just one bad start all year. And you look, he's got a 105 whip, which is fantastic, 338 ERA. You know what I always say, ERA doesn't matter as far as the ratings on the card, but if you have a good ERA, it brings the attention of SDS to take a look and investigate and see what's going on. His strikeouts are up from last year, while his walks and hits are down. So all three major categories that are playable in MLB The Show have improved. I think he's a sneaky buy right now because he can't really hurt you that much. Even if you start investing a little bit higher than this 178, even if you rip these buy orders off the top, what's he at, 280 there? You see I got some 177s, and don't go and take mine. You got some 280s up here. Even if you're I don't want to say you're too lazy, even if you value your time and the 102 stubs that you could save aren't of value versus the time that you could save. Even if you get these orders here, that's not too bad to just put a little nest egg away on him. I think he's got a good shot here, even with 3 points. I think the hit 9 needs to go up into the mid 60s. I think the K9 needs to go up into the high 60s, and the BB9 could continue to rise. Even the Homer 9 probably can get into the 50s. A 1.4 Homer 9 is not very good. In fact, yeah, I'll peel back. I think there's a few point gain there. Few points, like probably 4 to 5 points max. But the other three categories can definitely make a move. And you know what I would really like to pay attention to is what inside edge does for him next time out, particularly if it's an upgraded inside edge, and kind of see where that moves him, because sometimes that can give you a guide. And just little investments in the three major categories, or little boosts in the three major categories might be enough to get him there. So I'm, like you said, I'm getting a little bit started here. I've got 4 already, got a handful more. Hopefully these go through. Although this jerk must have incepted my brain and already got in there. But yeah, I think this is a decent one. Aaron Hicks, rough start to the season. Simply might be too late to turn it around, although he is a BR god. I draft him even on down inside edge. It does not matter. I'm hitting nearly 500 with him in a pretty reasonable sample of plate appearances. Just a little tip for those of you that don't know. Although he's been a thing in the BR world for a little while now, like beyond just this year, so you probably know that already. Gary Sanchez, he's hitting 130 on the season. I'm sorry, he's not getting there. There's absolutely no chance. You can't turn around that batting average. Brett Gardner, LOL, he's hitting 188. Miguel Andujar, he's hitting 162. And I'm only mentioning the batting average because when it's that low, that's enough to just axe you. Zack Britton, okay. I got a few things to say about Zack Britton. Y'all need to chill, Yankee fans, okay? I can't tell you how many chats I go into around the Twitch community and have to hear people talk about how Zack Britton is undervalued and how disrespected he's being. And this is going to sound kind of harsh, I understand, but I'm going to cut you straight. I'm going to shoot y'all straight. When you say that, it shows that you have a fundamental misunderstanding of how the cards are made and what ratings matter and what matters into making the ratings. Again, I know it's kind of rude to be that stern about it, but it's the truth. And at the risk of putting people off with that, now I'll soften up and say, hey, let me tell you, Zack Britton's a good pitcher. I don't deny that. But stop quoting me his ERA. It was 191 last year. It's 3 this year. Great. Doesn't matter. Particularly this year with a 142 whip, which is legitimately bad. But here's the thing. He doesn't strike anybody out anymore. This is 4 years running where his strikeout rates are legitimately poor for a reliever. Not just mediocre. They're bad. In today's strikeout-heavy game, if you're striking out between 7 and 8 batters per 9, and 8's friendly, by the way. That's rounding up his 2019 mark of 7.8. That's weak as hell. And when you're walking over 4 in all of those years, 4.3, 4.6, 4.7, and 5.3 this year, shut up about disrespect. He's lucky to be a bronze. He should thank his lucky stars that he's a bronze right now. In fact, I would say that if you're really good with him in BR and other modes that would benefit from a bronze or silver Britton, then you should totally shut your yap because you can get him at the lower tiers and utilize him that way. But the simple fact is he does not deserve gold. I would not invest in him at all. Next team, Rays. Let's see what they've got. Now this is where my notes are done. I decided, you know what, I'm just going to jump in. Let's just jump into it. Shouts to Phil. All right, Austin Meadows. Now, he missed a lot of time. He's only played 26 of their 40 games. So, yeah, he's missed about 2 weeks' worth of games. He's kind of sitting right there on the cusp where a big finish could get him there. He's at 229, 315, 406. That sounds really poor, but it's only in 26 games, which is 111 plate appearances. If he surged, he could get there. That doesn't mean I would go full bore on investing in him, though, because we don't know if he's going to have that surge. In fact, since returning off the IL, he's been quite poor with a 598 OPS. So I'm inclined to not invest in Austin Meadows, but he's somebody I would monitor. Put him on your watch list and say, okay, again, it's kind of a day trading sort of thing. You're looking 3 hits today, 2 hits the next day. Ooh, a homer on this day. You know, when he starts to string together these good games, then you could make a decision to jump in. But again, time's running out, and it's just probably not going to be there for Austin Meadows, so don't go crazy. Yanni Chirinos is currently on the IL. I believe so. Let me see. Yes, he's on the 60-day IL. It's over. It's not happening for him this year. Willie Adames is one of my favorite investments. I'm actually kind of surprised that he's still only at a 77. I'm very much investing in him. I think you're going to find here that I have about 25 of him. Yes, I do have 25, and I plan to get more. Look at this person, 190, or that might not all be one person, but 190 there, 15, 57, 67. A lot of people interested in getting a lot of orders filled on Willie Adames, and with good reason, folks. He's surging yet again. In the last week, he had 5 games where he hit 2 homers with a 476 average. He's killing lefties on the year. That's what really needs the big boost right now, and he's done very well against righties as well. So I think the contact against righties, contact against lefties, power against righties, and maybe even a little bit of pop against lefties. Unfortunately, he does not have a homer against lefties. All 5 have come against righties. But even with that, he does have 7 doubles among his 12 hits. So there's enough to get a boost there, even if it's maybe 3 to 6 points, depending on how they feel about him. But I think the real gains come in both contacts and then the power against righties. The bottom line is, it's time. And I really think he is one of the best gold investments, or silver investments going to gold, because of how cheap he is right now. Again, even if you were to rip off a bunch of these orders all the way down into the, even beyond here, up into 500, you're still doubling. You're doubling the profit. Of course, you should be putting in buy orders. That's the smart, prudent way to do it. But I understand if you have a big budget, a big bankroll, and you just want to quick snap on it, go for it. But don't hone in on my orders. Let me get my orders in first, and then you can go ahead and get all you want. But yeah, Willie Adames, big investment for sure. Who else do they have here? Manuel Margot. Now, Manuel Margot's actually been playing pretty well of late, and I know this because he's been a fantasy consideration. He has 6 stolen bases recently. Now, I think his steals and speed and all that are already accounted for on his card. That's actually the major factor on his card. Turns out now I'm looking, and that's actually the only thing that he's been doing. Let's see his speed. Yeah, 79, 47, 53, set hut. Okay, that was a stupid joke. I understand if you click off the video. But yeah, he's 6 for 6 on the year. He was 20 for 24. His steal metric could use a boost, that's for sure. I don't know about his speed. I haven't checked his sprint speed. And because of the ease of the things I'm looking at here and the fact that they default to per nines, I'm actually looking at BREF right now primarily. I do have tabs open for Fangraphs, Baseball Savant, and some other pages too, but I'm trying to keep this without too much, searching on pages while you guys look at a stationary page. So I'm going to focus on this. I don't know if his sprint speed's gone up, but at 79, it's pretty well accounted for. I now see that this past week wasn't so good for him hitting-wise. 125 average. He had hit 258 in the last 2 weeks, which means it was one good week, one bad. He had a great August. 349 average, 866 OPS with 4 steals in 4 tries. I don't think there's 4 points here, though. So I'm going to pass. Probably spent too much time on Manuel Margot, but I did want to give him a little love just because he's been playing well of late, just not well enough for our purposes, more for the fantasy purposes. Yarbrough also on the IL, and probably not anything to really boost him in, accounting for the 7 starts that he's made this year. I'm going to have to take a drink during this one a couple times. You'll have to bear with me, please. Yeah, his K rate is low. I'm going to leave the top off on that. His walk rate already accounted for at 76, and yeah, nothing for Yarbrough, and he is hurt. Get well soon, good sir. Colin Poche. I know he's a big BR pick. He's got a nasty little arsenal, and he's pretty decent. He's on the IL as well, I believe. Where is he? Why can't I find him? Gotta do control. Oh, I did control F on the wrong page because I'm a doof. Wait, why is he not showing up on their BREF page? What am I missing here? Has he not pitched this year? Has he been hurt all year? He's been hurt all year. I'm a complete moron. That shows you how much I'm paying attention to Colin Poche. In fairness, he's not particularly fantasy relevant. My world revolves. He underwent Tommy John. I'm a moron. It was just on July 30th, so it's not like he's been under Tommy John for so long that I should have been remembering. But I probably should have known that. But he's not particularly fantasy relevant, so I'm going to give myself a small pass on that one. Obviously, do not invest in Colin Poche. Hunter Renfroe, this is one of the bigger disappointments of the year, just as a general notion, because what he did last year with improving his defense while still kind of being that all-or-nothing power guy, I was impressed with. And I thought maybe coming to Tampa Bay, they would be able to unlock some things. They've been really good at player development over the years. We know that when they target somebody, you take an extra look at them just to see, hey, what are they thinking on so-and-so here? And I thought maybe they could make something out of Renfroe, turn him into something next level. Maybe he starts hitting like 260, 270, which would be a huge boon for him. He's a 229 career hitter. Now he's hitting 149. Now that's 32 games, and if we had a standard 6-month season, maybe he'd figure some things out and get back on track. But this is literally his worst season yet, and obviously there's no need to invest, and there's no need to continue talking about it. We got a lot of players to talk about, so I got to not ramble on the guys who don't have any play here. Joey Wendell, 4 points away. I don't see it. He's hitting 257. I don't even think a strong surge to finish the season would get him there. Diego Castillo is an interesting one. Let's dive into him a little bit more. He needs 5 points. I believe he started this year at bronze, or maybe that was Alvarado, or maybe that was both. I do not remember. He has 10.3 strikeouts. That's in line with what he's been doing for years. They deem an 80 to be worth what he's doing. And I think that's probably pretty fair. 10.3 if you're a starter. I don't know if they do this, and I should do the research to check. I don't know if they have a reliever and a starter scale for strikeouts, but they should, because 10.3 from a starter is a hell of a lot different and better than 10.3 from a reliever. And I'd be inclined to put a 10.3 strikeout reliever into the high 80s, maybe even low 90s, versus a reliever. So 80 is probably good enough for him. The walk rate's still pretty high. In fact, it's at its career high of 4.0. So where could he get a gain? His hit rate. It's down to 4.6. That's pretty good and probably merits something in the 80s. But that's only one of 3 metrics that we're talking about being vastly improved. Pass. There's no 5 points here for Diego Castillo. Let's move on to our next squad. It will be the Blue Jays, and they've been graduating some folks to gold recently, including Teoscar Hernandez. I'll tell you what, I'll still draft Teoscar Hernandez in BR, though. I don't care. My numbers with him are so off the charts that I'll take it. Was he in like an 81? Yeah, I really will. Okay, here we go. Let's talk about Lourdes Gurriel Jr. I've been waiting for this one. First, let me bring up today's box score because I believe he had a good day today. Today being Sunday, which is when I'm recording this. Yes, he went 4 for 6. Now, it was just 4 singles, but we are not about to judge a man going 4 for 6 because he only hit 4 singles. You get 4 hits in a major league ball game, you did something right. You did a lot of things right. You did 4 things right for sure. Okay, stupid jokes. But now he's up to 290 on the season. 346, 486. That's his slash line. Average OBP slug. That's good. That's good. I told you guys this the other day. I don't know if I said it in a video or on stream or on both. But my firm belief is that they have not moved him off of shortstop position because they know that if they move him to left field, his rightful position, that he's going to go gold instantly. Because the thresholds, the way stats play at a different position matters because of the defense. It makes sense, right? And the more premium the position, the higher the threshold you need to become a silver or a gold overall player. Left field is lower on the defensive spectrum. That's one of the easier positions. In fact, I think it is the lowest on the defensive spectrum. And so if he moves out there as a 78 at shortstop, he's going to 80-something, probably 81, 82 to be honest. I think they're waiting for his numbers to merit that move. I don't believe that they want him to get to gold on a position move alone. I definitely mentioned this in the YouTube video. I think I did it during the roster update because I asked you guys to comment on it. So I definitely did do it on YouTube, but I also talk about it in stream. And I firmly believe that. And I think I'm okay with it, but I understand both sides. I understand if you're an ardent supporter of saying if they're in a new position, put them there, and if their level changes, so be it. I get that. That's fine too. I guess the real question for SDS would be why didn't you just put him at left field to start the season and let him come in as a gold if that's what would have happened. At any rate, he's hitting a lot better of late. He's on fire. Just over his last 14 days, this is without today's game, Sunday's game, he was hitting 295, 404, 659 with 4 homers and 2 steals. Then you add in a 4 for 6, and all of a sudden, and a throwout at third base. Just saying. I don't know how many that is for the year. In fact, I'm going to check that out just real quick because I got it here right quick. Assists. He has 2. That one, the new one won't be added, so that's 3. That's got to be pretty decent I can't imagine too many guys have a ton. At any rate, I think it's time. And you can see I've got a little stash here of 12. I will get more. I'll probably try to get around 25 to 30, which is a pretty sizable investment for me. That's where I'm usually at. I know some of you guys go up into the hundreds, 200s. Bless y'all. I love it. I respect it. I'm here for it. I might go even a little bit higher on him because I'm trying to get this up into the 800s so I can get myself a Casey Mize. I know he's in the 700s right now, but I got to be sure because by the time I get all my stubs, he'll probably be up again. And I got to get that Casey Mize. I'm a Tigers fan. I've got Mantle. I've got Trout. So it's time to be frivolous and pay way too much for a pitcher card that I want. Or I could just get 12 and never mind. I couldn't even finish the sentence. It's too funny of a joke. Anyway, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., I'm in. I think he's getting it soon. And the way he's staying hot right now, it could be this week. So get in now. That had to be a big drink right there. I needed it, y'all. Especially because the website's taking time there. I figured I could kind of take that time. Randal Grichuk, he's an interesting one. And I've been back and forth on him. I've put him as gold. on some of my investment guest worksheets. If you're a subscriber to my Twitch channel, I think I've even mentioned him on a YouTube upgrade video at some point over the last couple weeks. I'm so torn on him because when he first started his hot streak, I was like, this is a standard Randal Grichuk hot streak, which means he does this every year for a certain period of time, and then he kind of goes back to who he is and winds up back where we've seen him be for the last several years, which is right around average. Just using his OPS plus, which 100 is average, and every point above means you're that much better than league average, and every point below is the opposite. He's been 102, 95, 117, 93. I know that sounds kind of like back and forth. It's really not. It's a pretty tight range there. He did spike to 117 in 2018, but to make the picture maybe even a little bit clearer, the OPS totals, if OPS plus doesn't play for you, 769, 758, 803, 738. If anything, the 803 stands out as kind of a like a sore thumb, but the OPS plus scales it to the league, because not every OPS is created equally. Like an 803 last year in 2019 would have played differently than an 803 in 2018 because of the league around it, with the rabbit ball last year and all that. Anyway, to cut to the chase here with Randal Grichuk, I'm back to thinking that I was right initially, and that it was just a standard Randal Grichuk hot streak, which can last upwards of a month. And he did have a great month where he hit 9 homers and had a 920 OPS. He hit 8 homers last September. He had an 826 OPS with 6 homers last August. So, he only hit 220 last September, so he probably wasn't hot for the whole September. But the bottom line is that you can probably cut a month between those 2 months, August and September of last year, that looks similar to this one. And I could go through all of his seasons and probably find a 25 to 30 day period that looks similar to this. As you can see here, I've got 9. I'm going to divest in these. I'm going to either exchange them for Affinity, or I don't think I'm going to put in sell orders. I paid about this, maybe a little higher on some of them. I think I might have bought a couple at 400. Just as he kept going with the streak, I was like, okay, I'll get a couple just in case he and T.O. go to gold together. So I'm going to take a little bit of a loss. I'm not too worried about it, though. As you can see, I've only got 9 because I never really wanted to dive in head first. So I would not invest more because he is slumping and coming back to earth where we expect Randal Grichuk to be. Jonathan VR, meanwhile, has just joined the squad. He's hitting 190 with them in 6 games. That's not going to bode well. He's been pretty mediocre to poor with Miami. I don't see it this year, even being only 2 points away. Robbie Ray, I'm not even going to waste y'all's time. Danny Jansen, same. And Nate Pearson is hurt right now. He's also 5 points away. Wasn't particularly good before he went on the IL. Also not going to waste y'all's time. Next team, White Sox. What do they still have left? Isn't everyone a gold or a diamond on their team at this point? My goodness, they're having a great year. They're really panning out. It's been a lot of fun to watch. James McCann. Okay, James McCann is 2 points away at this point. He's been killing it. The tough part is he might not get enough playing time, because he doesn't play regularly. Yasmani Grandal is obviously still the starter, and there's no DH room for either of them to play at because of Edwin Encarnacion. And even first base, of course, Jose Abreu's there, which Grandal could generally go to first base sometimes. So there's just not enough times for them to both get into into games regularly. So just to get an idea, last week, McCann played twice. He's like a 2, maybe 3 times a week sort of guy, especially if there's like an extra lefty in the schedule for him to play against, because he's pretty good against lefties. I think that is going to be his hindrance in getting him to gold, unless he just kills every time he plays. But that's a pretty big burden to put on somebody. Another big thing is that he does have a pretty substantial platoon split. 668 OPS against righties, 1206 against lefties, and his card already reflects that kind of split. In fact, if he's not careful, they're going to downgrade his contact versus righties. So while I do love James McCann, former Tiger, you can see he's still wearing his Tigers gear there, I'm not going to invest in him. Plus, I don't want him to go. And by the way, let me just be clear. What I'm about to say, I don't want him to go up because I love him in BR and I would like to have him as a silver. I would never recommend against investing in somebody or try to suggest that they're not gold worthy just to keep their BR quality. Like, first off, my influence is not that substantial to where I could be like sandbagging, and then SDS would be like, we were going to upgrade him, and then Spore said don't. So now we're going to ignore these numbers that say he's a clear upgrade because Spore said so. Obviously not. But I just want to be clear that whenever I say, like, I don't want him to get upgraded because I love him as a BR player, as a silver, I'm just throwing in that I do well with him. The two aren't linked. If they're ready to go gold, frankly, I'd rather get the stubs of them going gold than I would keep them as a silver stud as a BR player. Because with downgrades, we're getting enough BR studs coming in. Plus, if you play enough BR, you find your bronzes, your silvers, and sometimes even those guys that go up to gold, you still want to draft them. Luke Voigt, I miss you. I forgot that you can't draft 85 diamonds this year. I need you to come back. I think Scuffy suggested maybe moving one of the golds to a low diamond, 85 to 89, and that would bring Luke Voigt back into the BR picture, and I would love that. I would love that. It's a great call. Dallas Keuchel. I've talked about him a few different times when talking about his upgrade path from bronze. He doesn't strike out enough guys, and his hit rate would have to be so low to get him to gold. I mean, he's 4 points away. I just don't see it, folks. He's had a great season. Hats off to him. Love seeing him succeed again. 4 points are just not there for a gold, though. Aaron Bummer is hurt, and he's on 60-day IL. I think he's frozen where he is, which is a good thing for BR, folks. Edwin is hitting 168. Listen. Rule of thumb, if you're not even hitting my weight, I'm built like a stop sign, for crying out loud. If you're not even hitting my weight, you ain't going to gold. You ain't. Over to Cleveland here. Whoops, what am I clicking on? And let's talk about Tyler Naquin. Tyler Naquin was out for a while, and he's come back, and he's on fire. And I think there's a nice little investment potential here, because his power has come out of the guns firing. And he hit 3 homers in the past 7 days. He's only hitting 238 during that time, but if you take the 7 days before that, combine the last 14 days, he's hitting 293. So that tells you he had an amazing week, and then the most recent week was a little cool, but he's hit 4 homers in that time, 3 of those in the last week. So there's a lot working here. The only downside is that he's a strict platoon. He only has 12 plate appearances against lefties this year, and he's 0 for 10 with a walk. Or no, not even with. Wait, what? How did? Oh, sacrifice fly and a hit by pitch. Sorry, because he has 12 plate appearances, 10 at bats. I was like, where are the other 2? So everything has to come against righties. That said, he's hitting 317 with a 635 slugging against them. At the very least, the power needs to go up. He's showing some more pop against righties. That needs to be attributed for, because he also has a triple and 6 doubles. So 11 of his 20 hits, over 50% of his 20 hits, have gone for extra bases. That's a power gain for sure. He's only 2 points away. So if they move that into the high 60s, low 70s, we're probably already there. The diamond fielding lowers the threshold that we need from Tyler Naquin to get him to gold. He is a very strong gold candidate. And as you can see, I'm starting to get my little collection together here for him. And hopefully I can get up to about 15 or so. I think that's where I'm going to sit with Tyler Naquin, because he's doing pretty well. I'm not going to put in a ton of orders, or else I'm going to have to hit the back button like 52 times when I'm ready to go to the next player. James Karinchak, let's talk about him. First off, if you missed my video, I don't know. I recorded one. I talked about it on Twitch, and then I spliced I cut off the little highlight that I was going to put on YouTube. I don't know if it'll be up on the YouTube channel by the time this video comes out or not. But basically I made a video highlighting that they changed his mechanics. They gave him Oliver Drake's mechanics, which are not perfect to his, but close enough. In fact, I applaud them for doing that, because it makes James Karinchak a lot more real to what he's been able to do, and the deception that he has. So I think that's a big move for them, and I really applaud that they went out and did that, because he just had some generic delivery that really didn't make him that deceptive at all. Now, as far as getting him upgraded, he has fallen on a little bit of hard times and maybe a little bit of a rookie wall, and just kind of, hey, things are tough in the majors, and guys are starting to figure out a little bit, probably spitting on that curveball and just waiting for your heater. That'd be my guess. I have not analyzed these 3 outings, but he's given up runs in each of his last 3 outings, totaling 5 runs in all in 2 1/3. That said, he still has 6 strikeouts in that time, because that's how disgusting he is with his strikeout potential. That's a 24 or 23.5 strikeout rate. But he has 4 walks as well and 6 hits. So those are hurting him. That said, the whole season is just 17.5 strikeouts, 4.7 walks, a half a home run, which is 1 homer in 19 innings, and 5.2 hits per 9. So if I'm looking at it, I still think that in his 24 1/3 innings as a major leaguer, so including last year's 5 1/3, he has 16.6 Ks. I think that's worth over a 99 personally. So I think there's a little bit of upgrade there, maybe up to like 104, 105. The hit 9 is at 5.2. That definitely goes up. Let's just say they leave the Ks, okay? I'll grant that. They moved him up to a 99 based on 24 1/3. Okay, that's fine, even though there's a case to go higher. But let's just say they leave that. 5.2 hits is better than an 80. Like, I think that's a guarantee. So that needs to go up. Tough part, though. 54 BB9 is given a little bit too much credit for what we've seen this year because of this recent bout of walks. So they could counterbalance. The hit 9 could go up into the 90s. It could be countered by a BB9 drop. However, his clutch needs to go up, and his homer 9 needs to go up. Now, I know homer 9 doesn't play in game, but I think it still affects the overall of the card. Somebody in my Twitch chat suggested that it didn't, but I have not gotten confirmation on that, so I'm operating as though it still does until I hear something from SDS. And 38 is far too low. I think that needs a 32-point boost at minimum. He's given up 1 homer in 24 1/3 innings as a major leaguer. He did not give up homers in the minors at all. Bottom line is, I think James Karinchak has a gold opportunity still. I'm going to stay invested. As you can see here, I've got 31. I've been invested in him for a long time. I started getting him as a common, got more as a bronze. Frankly, as he stays under 200, I'll probably get a few more here. I don't mind adding to this because I feel like this is a low risk investment. I'll tell you the truth too. For a while there, when he was tracking higher, when he had a split of like 600 versus 200 area, like those were the ranges, I was flipping him like crazy. In fact, I remember one time he spiked, he had like 800 versus like 350-ish. I was flipping then. So I've made tons of stubs off him. He's been one of my favorite players this year to watch pitch, invest in, flip, and just overall play with in MLB The Show now that he has Oliver Drake's mechanics. I've used him in a couple BR runs, and he's definitely playing much more difficultly for my opponents. So I do think he's a solid investment. I put him at kind of a 50-60% investment if you're not already in. If you're starting from scratch, that's what I'm saying. If you're already in, then treat him more in the 80 to 100% range of where you would put a full investment, because I really think he has a chance to get there. Maybe lean closer to the 80 just because he's fallen on hard times right now, but I do still think that it's worth getting in at this sub 200 level. Zack Britton has come back and just continued to dominate. And, you know, I understand why his team was absolutely pissed at him. We've covered that a billion times. He's going to start. Did he start? No, Bieber started today, so he should start tomorrow or Tuesday in time for them to get another look. And if he has another good start, I think he goes gold this week. I think you got to get in on Zack Britton right now if you want to have an opportunity to cash in on Britton shares. I've only got a couple because between him and Savale, I was a Savale guy. And I know I could have just invested in both, but I just didn't. Okay, I don't have an answer for it. But just because I'm recommending him and I don't have him, doesn't mean that I don't believe in it. In fact, I'm going to increase my exposure to him substantially, probably at least 10x what you see here. So the next time you see me on stream, look for this to be in the high teens, low 20s. I'll put my money where my mouth is. You know what? I'll buy a couple right now just to show you guys that I'll even pay full price. I don't care. I throw stubs around, dog. Okay, please wait. Okay, but I'm only gonna buy 2 because it's just not prudent. It's just not prudent to do that. I gotta put in buy orders, but I'm also not gonna waste y'all's time putting in a bunch of buy orders. Okay, you just have to trust me. You guys know I put my money where my mouth is. Now, if I go back, is that gonna show me Cleveland? It is. Excellent. Franimal, they murked us on Franimal, man, with that neutral move. I started to get a little bit worried about that, though. It makes sense, okay? When I say they murked us, I just mean that Franmil murked us, okay? It's not like SDS did something to us. They did the right thing. They had to clown him a little bit against lefties because he has 0 homers and a 310 slugging against them. Frankly, we're lucky that he still maintained a 72 power against them. That said, I still thought there was a little bit more juice for his versus righties numbers. He's hitting 336 with a 618 slug against them. I think the power should be up around 99 to 103. And I think the contact needs to be in the mid-80s, personally. He has remained hot over the last week. He's hitting 476 with a 810 slug. It's only 1 homer, but it's 4 doubles in his 10 hits, so 50% extra base hit rate. I still think he's a hold for gold. As you can see, I'm heavily invested in him. He's one of my biggest investments. I'm continuing to hold here. The price has come way down. If you want to get in on at this point, you don't have any yet, you can still get in at a fair enough price. If he closes the season strong, I still think there's a strong chance that he gets there. And as long as the price remains within this range and doesn't really go above the 400s range, I think you should be able to get in at full capacity of what you think a worthy investment is. All right, next up is Roberto Perez. No. That's all I'm saying is no. Oscar Mercado, or Oscar Mercado as the game called him. I wonder if that's one of the names they updated. I meant to check that. I didn't check that. Also, a very large and resounding no. Cesar Hernandez. This was a great pickup for them this year, and he's panned out pretty nicely. He's got a 360 OBP for them. He leads baseball with 14 doubles. He's been good. Now, does it translate into an MLB The Show upgrade? Let's take a look. I'm going to need to look at the splits here because the service numbers say maybe a little tweaking, but I need to see the splits. And no, unfortunately not, because you see this 80-60 contact split here. He's been just that this year. 297 against righties, 216 against lefties. If anything, the contact versus lefties is going to go down. And there's no real power to speak of outside of those doubles. He does have 2 homers, and he has 12 doubles, 12 of the 14 against righties. Let's see what his ISO is. Now, his ISO is 127 against righties. Like, that's not that good. I mean, that's just not that good. Maybe strikeouts? What? Let's see here. Let me do some quick maths on that. Quick maths on the calculator. I can't do it in my head. I'm stupid. 23%. Nah, that's not even that great. It's all right. And then the discipline, 11% walk rate. No, I mean, his card is what it is. The only thing that could be there maybe would be defense, but I can't speak to whether or not his arm strength has improved. He plays second base probably for a reason. He used to play shortstop, if I recall correctly. Yeah. Oh, no, never mind. He's always been primarily shortstop, second base. He played a little shortstop just for funsies here. But yeah, no, Cesar Hernandez. Oh, I was saying here as if you guys could see what I was looking at. Sorry. I was looking at his game logs over his career. But yeah, do not invest in Cesar Hernandez. Good player, but he is what he is. His card already reflects his true talent. Let's go to my Tigers. Man, they continue to play relatively well. Well, here's the thing. Every time they tease us Tigers fans with a surge, and they get to 500, maybe a game or two over, and then they lose 4 or 5 in a row. And that's exactly what they did recently. They lost, I think, 4 in a row, and then won a big game on Sunday after a huge comeback during which they scored 8 runs in the final 4 innings to beat Minnesota and salvage the sweep. I think it was a 4-gamer, and they salvaged getting a 4-game sweep. So big moves there. Let's talk about their potential silvers here, though. Jonathan Scopalope goes 2 for 5 on Sunday with a double and a triple. He's been hitting really well. I think he's a very strong gold candidate, and the market is not that keen on him right now. You know, he's up there 600, but these buy orders can go in under 500 right now. I think you got to get in on this for Jonathan Scope. And the interesting thing is, I believe his card tilts toward lefties. Let me pull it up, because he's actually doing his best work against righties this year. And actually, you know what? They've got it kind of reflected nicely here based on what he's doing. Actually, I'm gonna peel back a little. I would not go crazy, because with the upgrades he's gotten to get to 79, this kind of reflects what he is. They've got the power against righties, and the contact boost against lefties, and that's about right. There's a little bit of room here, contact versus righties, because he is hitting a straight up 300 against them. That's the key. But what I don't know is how far away is he from that 1 point. Would 5 to 6 points contact against righties get him that 1 point? It depends, right? Is he, think of it this way. Is he a 79.01 and he needs to get 0.99 to get all the way there? Or actually, I don't even know, does it round if he was at 79.5? Whatever. But is he like at the very beginning? Is he 78 point? Actually, this is better. Is he 78.5 and rounded up, he's a 79? Or is he 79.4 and thus a little bit of boost, so that's what we don't know. That's what we can't really know, because the offline roster does not match the DD1. So I can't just go in there, tweak the numbers, kind of see where he's at. That's where Inside Edge can help us, though. And he was on a 1-star today, so that wouldn't give us any clue. We could take a look at his. Although here's the thing, if he's ever on, we need him on like a 3-star where he just gets a small boost so we can see, because a 4 or 5 star is definitely going to send him over the gold threshold easily. So that's Jonathan Scope. I would do a medium investment. Don't go crazy. He might be the quintessential silver, to be honest, where he's like just a really, really quality player, but he's not quite gold tier. Plus that Baltimore gold Scope is so sick. Not that there can't be 2 golds. If they earn it in season, they already have a gold card. That SDS is still going to put them up. Crone's on the IL for the rest of the year, which sucks. Victor Reyes. Now here's somebody that has a real interesting investment opportunity that I definitely think you should look at here. In fact, this split is very close. I'm actually going to buy whatever these top orders are. How many are there? Oh, wow. They're that close. Yeah, I'm gonna get a handful here, because I don't have any Victor Reyes, and I'm looking at him. He's hitting 312, 338, 496. The power spike is very impressive. I've actually got him on a couple fantasy teams for the speed, which he is delivering. I believe he stole his 6th base today on Sunday, and he went 2 for 4 in the leadoff role. He's up to 318, 348, 496 for the Tigers. Yeah, I think there's some gold potential here. I'm gonna actually pull up his splits in just a moment. Let me take a look here. Pulling up Victor's splits, I see a little bit of imbalance, which could be tricky for us. He's hitting 323 with a 552 OPS slug against righties. So let's see. We've got a 229 ISO. Okay, that's worth way more than a 54 power. And 323 is probably worth more than an 80. Not probably, it is worth more than an 80 contact. He's hitting 276 with a 310 slug against lefties, though. 276. If that can hold the 72 contact, because the 30 power, that's fine. Okay, he doesn't have power against lefties. That's already reflected in the card. Can we not touch that and survive that way? I think so. Meanwhile, you know what? I'm actually going to check on the sprint speed on this one, because I feel like he's faster than a 78 speed. And I wonder if his steal rating could go up too. He's 5 for 6 on the season. He's 6 for 7 because of the extra steal today. He's 24 for 29. That's a career 83% rate. That feels better than a 60 mark. I feel like that should be in the 70s. Like, that's really good. I don't know how the steal rating works. Is it just, does the steal correlate to the percentage of their success rate in the observed period, or how does it work? Because 72% is the break-even point. If you're stealing at less than a 72% clip, then teams don't want you stealing because you're hurting in the aggregate. And so I wonder about that. I don't know for sure. I'd have to ask Luis and Rory over there at SDS. As far as his sprint speed goes, he's in the 76th percentile. He did lose a little foot speed this year. He used to be in the, I don't have the percent. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. He was in the 91st percentile last year and the 95th the year before. So he has gone down, but that's okay. It's still good. I think 78 is probably right. Okay, so there's no real qualms there. And his defense is what it is. Okay, so we're going on the versus righties numbers right now. I am, as you can see, I just invested right in front of y'all. So you can see that I do believe in him. I'm probably going to cap out around 12 to 15 shares because I do think that the 2 points are here in the versus righty numbers. And that alone can get Victor Reyes there. All right, nice. Go Tigers. I'll get the rest later. Matthew Boyd. Now, Matthew Boyd has turned his season around. He has been much better the last several starts, but I think the damage is probably done. And I wonder if there's even anything he could do the rest of the way to have them even look his way and give him an upgrade back into the gold realm, because he lost 4 points, and it was deserving as hell. But over his last 4 starts, he has 29 strikeouts and 3 walks in 21 and a third innings. That's really freaking good, with a 3.38 ERA and a sub-1 whip. Hang on, it's 20. Oh, got it. If you guys can see the way I'm fumbling that. In a .94 whip. I don't know. So, you know, if he has another 3-4 good starts, would that be like his ERA? The ERA damage is probably done for the year. Like, I don't know that he could even get his ERA below like 5 or you know, maybe he could if he was still like flawless. But let's just say he keeps doing this. Let's say he puts up another 21 in the third innings of 8 earned. Let me just do the math real quick, just to give you an idea. So 21 and a third, that would be 41, 62. So 38. No, see, even if he puts up 4 more starts of this kind of caliber, he would be down to a 552. That's tough, dude. If he puts up 4 scoreless outings in 21 and a third innings, he would only be down to a 4.35 ERA. Now, that doesn't mean that he can't be upgraded, though, because SDS has shown that they're looking at the recent stats of a guy, and they're going to say, hey, he's been performing well. I don't care what the composite numbers are. We're judging week to week, up and down. I think he can get a little boost. The bottom line is, though, it's not an investment because I don't think he can get 4 points for gold. I think he can get a little bit boost back up into the high silver, and then if the final few starts of the season are good enough, maybe he can touch gold at the very end of the year if he's really good the rest of the way. But for the most part, I'm not investing. He's a watch list guy. Miggy's been better lately, and that's why he got to silver, but no, do not invest in Miguel Cabrera. Are we getting a better Miguel Cabrera, or is that Triple Crown? Nah, there's got to be more, right? There's got to be. We don't have to get into that right now. And I am going to do a 2-parter here because we're not even done with the AL Central, and this video is almost an hour already. And is anybody surprised? No, they're not. And hopefully you guys don't mind this. I'm trying not to blather on too long and be unnecessarily lengthy with this video, but we're covering a lot of information and a lot of players. So hopefully you guys are finding the information valuable. All right, Hunter Dozier. Hunter Dozier's been pretty good this year, and he's been really powered by his walk rate. Let's see what his discipline's at, because that could be in for a boost. He's got a 241 average, but a 382 OBP. That's a healthy split there. He almost has a 1-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. In fact, that walk rate is 19%. So that deserves a big boost from the 68 that we see here. I could see 8 to 10 points of boost for that. The strikeout rate, which means it's very close to that. It's probably closer to about 22%. Yep, 22.5, rounded up, we'll call it 23. Where was it last year, though, for Hunter Dozier? because you do have to keep that in mind a little bit as well. Because while they are doing week-to-week upgrades, they still talk, they still look at where they've been. That is an improvement from 25. Now he continues to trickle downward. I'm not going to count 2016 when he had 21 plate appearances. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for one because they only do 3-year period anyway. But even if I was looking at it as just kind of a reference point, it's too small of a sample to matter. But if you look at 2018, he had a 28% rate. Then last year, 25. This year, 23. He continues to improve there, and the walk rate continues to go up with big jumps from 6 to 9. Nice. From 9 to 19, obviously a massive, huge, excellent upgrade. He lost a little bit of the power from last year, but not so much so that it's like egregious. 243 ISO down to 217. The problem is there 4 points here? Can discipline and a little bit of vision, can that get him there? I would think no. Let me take a look at his splits here just real quick. Okay, this is interesting. No, you can't. I mean, even when your sample is off the charts insane, if you only have 7 plate appearances against lefties, which is what he has, why? How many lefty starters have they faced? He's a right-hander, by the way, so there'd be no reason that he would be platooned. That's bizarre that he only has 7 plate appearances against lefties. But the bottom line is he's not good enough against righties this year. The power just it's been okay at a 192 ISO, 347 OBP because of all those walks, but he's only hitting 205. If he surged to the finish line, I could see it for Hunter Dozier. So keep an eye out on him, and if you see him start to take off, maybe. He hasn't been good in the last week at a 773 OPS. So no, I'm not investing in Hunter Dozier right now. Next up is Brad Keller. He is a recent silver, and he's 5 points away. I don't see it. He just doesn't strike out enough guys, and he walks too many. He is a command and control guy, and just because you have decent control doesn't mean you never walk guys. What he does is his stuff's so nasty that it can be difficult to rein in, but he doesn't get a ton of strikeouts, but he also doesn't give in. So he's not afraid to walk a guy to try to get a ground ball double play on the very next pitch. He has a 5.5 hit rate and 0 homers on the year. That's not going to be enough for 5 points, though. Pass. Scott Barlow. Scott Barlow's a little bit interesting. They built a nice little bullpen this year. They traded some pieces out. Well, maybe just Rosenthal, but they've got some pieces left, too. Josh Stomont has been really nice. Actually, I think he's on the silver list. We're going to talk about him. But Scott Barlow's another one. He's a 27-year-old who's actually pitched in the most games this year, 22. He has 11.1 strikeouts, 3.0 walks, and 7.3 hits. So we'll cut to the chase. No, he's not an investment because it's only been 21 innings and there's not 5 points to gain here from what he's got. But he could go up a little bit from 75. And if you think that putting in some base orders at 100 here or upwards of 120, nothing too crazy, and getting him for an affinity to get those extra 3 points of rating, which would deliver many more points in affinity trade-in, that might be worth it. So that's an investment opportunity for Barlow for affinity. With stage 4 coming out soon, if you like to do the exchanges, this is a cheap silver that you can get who could end up being a 77, 78 by season's end. All right, next up is Alberto Mondesi. He recently got downgraded. He's been brutal this year, so nope. Jorge Soler, I've been trying to make Jorge Soler happen as much as Gretchen Wieners was trying to make Fetch happen. And you know what? As Regina George said, it just ain't gonna happen. That's not what she said. That's not the quote. But she said, stop trying to make Fetch happen. It's never going to happen or some shit like that. I'm so bad at movie quotes. It's unbelievable. Unless it's from Rounders, I can't quote it accurately. I will always butcher it. But no, Jorge Soler, no. I divested. I don't even know if I have more than 1 share left of him. Let's see, though. Let's call me out here. Let's see how many I've got. 2. I'm a liar, dude. Can you believe it? But now, okay. Now he's not going to go up from here, but 100 stubs for a 75 for the affinity exchange isn't bad either. A base price. So you could put in some orders for him there. But anyway, neither here nor there. Let's go to Josh Stolmont, because he's actually a little bit interesting relative to the other guys that we've talked about. He's been significantly better than Barlow, and Barlow's done really well. So at the very least, he has the same sort of interest that you would have for Barlow, wherein Stolmont could go up to 77, 78 and only cost you 100 stubs for the affinity exchanges. That's very good. I think there's an outside shot at gold because his strikeout rate is off the charts at 16.2. His hit rate is excellent at 5.4. And his walk rate sucks, 5.9. That's very bad. But he doesn't have to go down that much more to reflect that. Yeah, he could probably shave it down to like 37, 36. Drop down another 8 to 10 points. But okay, if you're counterbalancing that with like a 10-point gain in strikeouts and a 12-point gain in hit rate, then that's fine. And another interesting thing is he's only walked 1 in his last 4 outings. If he can tamp down the walks the rest of the way, then maybe he doesn't even get that downgrade, and all of a sudden we're talking big time with Stolmont. He's only allowed 1 homer on the year as well, so the homer line could go up, and his clutch rating needs to go way up. In fact, I'll tell you what he's been doing as a reliever with runners in scoring position just right this instant, whenever I can find it. He has allowed a 200 average and just a 685 OPS. That's better than a 45, plain and simple. It's not crazy good. It's not like eye-popping the way some guys who have like a 300 or lower OPS, their clutch rating needs to go off the charts, but it's better than a 45. It's probably worth 20 points. Now, I don't know how much clutch moves the needle on overall, so I don't want to overstate that as some big mover for them, and like that's going to be the ace in the hole that we need. I don't believe it to be that way. So that's just a little sprinkle on top. All right, Twins, and then we got the AL West, and we'll wrap up video 1 here. All right, let's go to the Twins and talk about Jose Barrios, who, I'm kind of surprised that he is only a silver now, but he got downgraded and he deserved it. But if you had asked me at the beginning of the year, what's more likely, silver or diamond, I would have definitely said diamond. I thought he could build on what he's been doing the last couple of years and maybe explode and have like a mega breakout. Like he's been good. Maybe I thought he could go to that next level, and instead he's trickled down a little bit. But he has been rebounding. His last 3 starts, he's allowed just 4 runs for a 2.04 ERA, but more importantly, he's only had a 105 whip, which is excellent because he's allowed 11 hits in 17 2/3, and he has 23 strikeouts in that time as well. So that's an 11.7 mark, and he only has 1 homer. So he is starting to make moves to solidify himself as a potential return to gold. I would invest in Jose Barrios. I would probably get a decent amount of shares relative to what I would normally consider a high investment because he's been pitching so well. I'd probably be looking in the 60 to 75% range. And if he has another good start, amp it up. And if you really believe in him, like this is one of those too. If I start saying anything over like the 70% marker, that means the door is open to do 100% if you believe in him. The reason I always kind of play the conservative end of it is I'm not trying to tell you exactly what to invest in because I'm not going to be blamed if things don't happen. Because I don't know for sure. So I'm only giving my guesses, and I want you guys to kind of take the information, distill it, and make your own decisions. So, I'm considering him a pretty high-end potential investment here given his price. It's unlikely that you're going to lose badly here with Jose Barrios if you decide to buy in. Trev May, love what Trev May's been doing. First off, great guy. Cards on the table. I do have bias toward him. Consider him an internet homie. Watch his stream. We interact. We're like I said, we're internet friends. But just because I have that bias doesn't mean I can't accurately assess what he's been doing. And frankly, I don't necessarily see the gold opportunity here because the home run rate has been so high. He's allowed 4 homers on the season. In fact, I think he allowed another one today. He did. He allowed one to Willie Castro. So that's 5 on the year. And when you're a reliever, 5 homers in 16 innings is a lot. And so I think that his homer per nine is actually going to go down a bit, and it's going to counteract any gains that his strikeout rate could get, because he's actually at 15 Ks per nine, which is amazing, and that definitely should go into the 90s there. And his hit rate is probably going to go down though to counterbalance it, because he's at 8.4 hits per nine. So he's going to get the strikeout gain and the walk gain because he's at 1.8 there. So those gains will go up, but the homer 9 and hit 9 will mitigate that and probably actually cost him more than the other two will help him. So if anything, I could see him going at a 78, maybe staying at 79. So love you, Trev, but I just don't see the gold right now, barring a crazy finish where his hit rate, like maybe he even goes hitless the rest of the way. So keep him on your watch list, but right now I would not invest. I would invest in him as a person, though. Great guy. Rich Hill, healthy currently. He has a 1-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, so that tells you all you need to know. No, don't invest in him. Odorizzi's on the IL. No, pass. Jorge Polanco is not hitting for any real power this year. He does have 4 homers, but he has a sub 400 slugging, which is bad. But he hit, oh wait, no, wrong player. That was Rosario who hit a homer today. Polanco did go 2 for 5, but he did not hit, I almost said he hit a homer. But he is hitting well of late. His last 7 games before, not including today, because I'm looking at Baseball Reference, which has not updated. He has a 902 OPS with a 321 average. Throw in a 2 for 5 on that, with a couple singles, and that's going to make it even. It's going to make the batting average a little bit better. The OPS will probably come down a little bit because it's only 2 singles. But the bottom line is he is starting to heat up a bit. In September, he has a 955 OPS. Keep an eye on Polanco. He's only 2 points away. He is crushing lefties, but struggling a bit against righties. Now, that's the key. Can he get going against righties? And that's the thing I would be looking at. Is his production coming against righties? Because that's what he's going to need to go up. He's only hitting 248 against them on the season. So right now, I would not invest heavily in Jorge Polanco, but I would keep a little star next to him, keep him on the watch list, and if he continues to collect hits and they come against righties, then you can start to look at him. But for now, don't go crazy. Mitch Garver. First off, we're not going to be upset about this as fantasy players or as BR players, because he's not going anywhere. He's on the IL, but he's going to stay silver. He's going to remain a BR god. Marwin Gonzalez, nope. Miguel Sano. Here's the thing. He's having a great season, plain and simple. But he leads baseball in strikeouts with 62. Yuck. And his card reflects who he is. It's like a quintessential silver. I said this about Scope, that he might be the quintessential silver. Like, there's some guys that just fit their tier so well. Like, they're very good at what they do, but they don't quite have the collection of skills to take them to that next tier. And for me, that's always going to be Sano, because he's never going to have the batting average that he needs to really go to gold and hold gold, right? He might dabble in gold and kind of get there for a smidge and come back, because he's always going to have those cold streaks because he strikes out so much. I mean, his vision's already at 16. Can it go lower? Yeah, probably. Should it? Yeah, probably. Power's off the charts. It should remain so. Here's an interesting thing about him, too. You see this. He has 52 against righty, 72 contact against lefty. Those should almost flip this year. He's hitting 279 against righties, 175 against lefties. So those will probably counterbalance a little bit. Maybe both meet somewhere in the 60s, because, one's going up, one's going down. Everything else kind of the same. He might go up a point. That's it. There's no gold. There's no gold potential there. Let's get out to the AL West and see what the Angels have to offer us as far as silvers go. Can already tell you that Ohtani's the top. Yeah, he's 79. No, I don't think so. He's actually having kind of a disastrous season at the dish, hitting 192, 297, 367. I imagine that his BABIP has to be very low, because everything else has actually been pretty good. The power hasn't been bad. He's taking his walks. Let me see what his BABIP is. Yep, 234. He is striking out a little bit too much at 28%, but as a power hitter, that's not the end of the world. That's a little high, but okay. But a 234 BABIP, he's striking out too much, and the singles and base hits aren't falling, and that's a problem right now. I do think he's been a bit unlucky with the BABIP. Some of it's his own doing, but some of it's just been the lack of luck going his way. If this were a 6-month season, I'd be investing in him in fantasy feeling comfortable that as the course of the season unwinds and he goes through the summer months, which obviously have already passed. But again, if this would theoretically be like early May that we'd be talking about, I would be investing in Ohtani in fantasy, thinking that a surge would be coming. But not for us here in MLB The Show. So do not invest in Ohtani. Andrew Heaney, now he's an interesting one for sure because he's pitching quite well. He's only 2 points away, and I do think there's a path. I do see him as a nice investment. I think this is somebody that you can get in on pretty cheaply, and you should take a look at getting some Andrew Heaney shares. His strikeout rate is down from last year, but I think 75 was too low for him coming into the year. He's always been a strikeout guy. He had 9.0 strikeouts, a strikeout per inning in 2018, and he had 11.1 last year in 95 innings. I don't think he should have been a 75. He should have been higher. He's at 9.6 this year, which I still think is probably better than a 75. I think he should be up 3 to 5 points. His hit 9 has improved substantially from 8.8 to 7.4. That's due an upgrade. He should be in the 70s somewhere. The walk rate's about the same, 2.8 to 3.1, so I think that stays the same. The home run rate is why he's having so much success this year. It has come down drastically from 1.9 to 0.4. That's due for a nice upgrade. All in all, I think there's a chance here that if he continues to pitch the way we've seen Heaney be pitching throughout this year, that it's time to move him into a gold tier. And after allowing 5 earned at Oakland on August 21st, he's backed it up with 2 big outings, 7 2/3 with 10 strikeouts against Seattle and 7 shutout against the Padres, one of the hottest hitting teams in the league, with just 3 hits, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. I like Heaney as a nice investment. And then Hansel Robles, don't worry, Scuffy, I won't talk about him too long. No, he's been a nightmare. In fact, his numbers look like Scuffy's been pitching with him. 13.09 ERA, 2.18 WHIP. Yikes, dude. Large effing yikes. Let's go out to Oakland and talk about the A's. Tommy Listell, I think he's their top guy. Since they got him, he hasn't done anything. He's hitting 182, so he's not making a case out there with them, although he's played 3 games with them. Actually, let's see if he did anything today. They did play today against San Diego, and Listell went 2 for 4. Okay, a double and a single against Garrett Richards. So maybe starting to turn the tide a little bit. His overall season, by the way, I kind of made fun of what he's been doing with Oakland because he hasn't done much. His overall season has been good. He is on the gold radar. The only problem is he's been a massive platoon player. He's crushing righties and just absolutely been abysmal against lefties. And I think his card kind of already reflects that. So while he is on the gold radar, he's not a strong investment right now. I would do a low investment, whatever you consider just kind of having a token investment. For me, that would be like 3 or 4 shares. Maybe 5. Maybe just kind of do. I was gonna say an even 5. 5's not an even number, but we always live in the 5s and 10s in the world, it seems. So I might add 4 more here, or maybe even 5 more, just so I have 5 sellables. But that's the most I'm gonna do, and they all have to be under 300. I'm not that high on Listell. I like him as a player, and I think he's backed up some of what he did last year. But I'm not that high on him as an investment because of the way his season has broken down. Soria has been good, but I think he kind of is what he is, and I don't know if there's 3 points of gain there because his strikeout rate and walk rate are both in line with last year. A little bit worse, a little bit better. A little bit better for the strikeout, a little bit worse for the walk. His homer 9 is what could do it because he's been at 0.5 homers. He's only allowed 1, but it's only 16 2/3, so how big of a move are they going to do, and is it worth 3 points? No. Meanwhile, his hit rate is too high at 8.1. I don't see gold here. I love Joakim Soria. I really hope they come out with his gold KC Royals card. Actually, I wonder if there's a prime card out there for him. What seasons could we put together to deliver a prime? You know what? Far be it for me to tell SDS how to do their job. They do a fantastic job with content, especially. But I wonder if 2007 and 2010 could create a nice little prime diamond Joakim Soria. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You're welcome. I'll bill you for that one. Robbie Grossman moved in from bronze to silver this year. He's actually still got big numbers. Let's see if he's continuing to hit well. I haven't checked in on him in a while. He is been disastrous over the last 2 weeks. So I think everything is kind of halted on him as far as the Hold for Gold campaign. So let's not worry about him right now. Sean Manaea has had a brutal season. Yusmeiro Petit has been very good with his results. He has a 180 ERA and a 107 whip. But has he done anything to earn 4 points? And I would say no. His metrics are virtually the same as they've always been, which are very good. But he is what he is. He's a quintessential silver reliever for sure. Mark Canha has indeed backed up his big breakout season last year. But again, has it been enough to merit a 4-point boost in his metrics? And I'm going to say no, because we're going to open this card and we're going to see that he's a reverse platoon guy, where he's better as a righty. He's better against righties than lefties. He's flipped that this year, but he's been excellent against lefties, so he could get some gains there, but he's going to give them all back against righties because he's hitting 237 with a 743 LPS. So there'd probably just be some neutral if there's any sort of movement on Canha's card. He does hit well in BR, though. I will say that. Mike Minor relieved in his first appearance with the A's and got murked. He's had a rough season. Do not worry about him. Frankie Montas. Rip the Frankie Montas shares. I divested in him a couple weeks back once the back issue was really looking like a major problem for him. It's been a big disappointment. If you still do have any of those shares, please, by all means, divest, because it's not happening this year. In fact, I feel like he should be on the IL. I don't know. Like, I have to believe that his back is causing these issues, so why the hell is he still starting? But anyway, I'm not the one making the decision, and maybe it's not. Who knows? Before we get into Seattle, let's take a drink. Did I smack the shit out of my teeth with this water bottle? Yes, I did. Okay? Shut up. Mitch Haniger, does this guy even play? No, he does not. So no, he's not going anywhere. Marco Gonzalez is on a Hold for Gold track, and I think he's actually a pretty nice potential gold here. Look at how cheap his price is. Silvers are really down right now. A lot of investment opportunities, because you can start to take some chances on the guys who are even a little bit fringier of investment opportunities. I actually don't think he's necessarily that fringy, though. He leads baseball in walk rate at 0.8. And the 79 is a good mark because he's always been somebody who doesn't walk guys. But I think it needs to go up even more to reflect just how strong his control has been this year. Meanwhile, he's actually amplified his strikeout rate too. He's at 8.0 strikeouts on the button. That's up from 6.5 last year. That's definitely worth more than a 57 marker. I think something in the high 60s, low 70s is what he needs right now. In fact, he last pitched on August 31st. I think he started today. Let's see how he did. Please don't tell me Seattle gave up like 92 runs. Let's go find it. Oh, they won 4-3. Tell me that was a good Marco Gonzalez start. Wait, he didn't start? How many days off? Are they running a 6-man? They have to be. Oh, wait, today was the 6th. So, yeah, if they're running a 6-man, that would make sense. Okay, he's got to be going tomorrow then. I would imagine. Let me take a look just to see. Sorry, guys. Let me just bear with me here. I want to make sure that Marco Gonzalez is starting on Monday, and he is. It will be against Texas. It's a wraparound series, which just means they started on Friday and they play through Monday, which we've seen a lot of this year. And it's because the travel's been so limited, it's a lot easier to do those. Normally, you wouldn't do that because you let guys get out on Sunday, and a lot of times Mondays are an off day. And if they're not, then you want the guys to be able to get there, get some rest and all that. Like I said, there's a lot less travel this year. It's all been confined to their segments of the country, so I think the wraparound series has been prevalent because of that. But anyway, Marco Gonzalez will start against Texas. If he has a big outing here, I think he can get gold this week. So I would jump in. In fact, I need to get my shares going because this is a nice split here. I can get a bunch under 200, and I think it's time. Who else they got? Who else do they have? Oh, Tom Murphy. He has not been playing. He is hurt. And then, oh boy, Kyle Lewis, our favorite discussion piece. Okay. Are we ready for this? Can we do that? Like, okay. I'm just going to keep saying okay. I'm going to set it up like that. Now, it took so long for him to get silver. And it was so bizarre because this guy, he started off absolutely on fire, right? But then he kept hitting. He would barely have an offer, let alone an extended run of poor quality games. Until now. His last 4 games, he's hitting 133 with a 521 OPS. However, there's still some gains to be had in catching up to where he is currently, in my opinion. It comes in the defense, though. That's where I'm thinking that he needs some upgrades. Now, is it worth 5 points? Probably not. But I do think his defense needs boosts across the board into the high 60s, low 70s. He's like a solid defender. He's not elite, but he's not this bad. Like, he really isn't, so I don't understand it. And I think the speed needs to go up. He's in the 77th percentile of sprint speed at 27.8 feet per second. And that's better than a 50. Like, that, plain and simple, that's better than a 50. Because if it was a 50, you'd think that he would be lower, at least like at the 50th percentile or lower, and he's at the 78th percentile. I think I said 77th, but it's 77.6, so I round up. It looks like StatCast rounded down. I'm rounding up. So I still think there's some gains here, but it's really more into the high 70s, not into gold right now, and unless he hits another surge to end the season and particularly goes off against lefties. That said, we got him to silver. They're probably going to do a diamond for him in the Player of the Now. I'm combining Tops Now and Player of the Month into Player of the Now. No, in the Player of the Month program, I would not be surprised if he got a high diamond to satiate those who want to use a big diamond Kyle Lewis, which I count myself among them. I want to use a really good Kyle Lewis card. But right now, I think they've got his offensive stats where they need to be. I'm just going to say that. All right, next up are the Rangers. They have Leclerc and Andrus. I'll take a quick look, but I don't think either of them deserve any love. Leclerc has been... he pitched 2 innings. He was awful. He's on the IL. He's done. And Andrus is barely hitting my weight. He's awful. Bye. He's been awful this year. He's not awful overall. Like that. And having an awful 2 months does not make you an awful player inherently, but he's not going gold. Let's just say that. All right, Astros. Let's wrap up the American League here talking about the Astros. Excuse me. Michael Brantley having a really good season. And I think this might be a nice one to jump in on too. Again, all these silver prices are depressed because of this pack sale, and it's going to create some interesting investment opportunities to be sure. He's hitting against lefties and righties. He has a 930 OPS against righties, 879 against lefties. Now, his card is pretty balanced and does reflect who he is. So where are the gains going to come from? I think there's a little bit of boost for the contact against righties. He's hitting 329 against them. In fact, I did want to look at something against righties the last 2 years combined. I think he's very high in batting average against righties. I'm going to pull that up. And then I wonder if the power might need a little bit of love. Let me see. Yeah, he's third. Well, in fact, I'm going to say he's second in baseball because I didn't put a plate appearance threshold. Or I did, but it's a very small one. And so technically Jake Cronenworth has the highest batting average against righties since the start of last year, even though he didn't even play last year. But he has 95 plate appearances. Tim Anderson has 464, and Michael Brantley has 539. So I love you, Rake. Ray Cronenworth absolutely needs to be gold, and we'll talk about that when we get to San Diego. But no, looking at full samples over the last 2 years since the start of 2019, Michael Brantley is second against righties in batting average at 322. I think he needs to be in the 90s, and the thing of it is that alone might be enough. So I do think he's a worthy investment to at least get some shares going. He's crushing of late. He's hitting 409. With a 1253 OPS in the last week, 359 with a 1060 in the last 2 weeks. Let's see if he did anything today against the Angels. Excuse me. No, he did go 0-for-4, but that's not a deciding factor. So I do think that Michael Brantley is a worthy investment to be sure. Lance McCullers is back, and how's he doing? He has been 4. All right. Josh Reddick. Josh Reddick has been like average, and that's what a 76 silver is, you know? It's like pretty average. Aledmus Diaz is not really playing, and he wasn't good when he has been playing. Here we go. Here we go. Kyle Tucker. I think Kyle Tucker is very much a hold for gold. He might not be getting it this week, but he is definitely somebody who can get gold by the end of the season. He has been excellent this year, and where he's really flourished, and they did get this right. They have his card currently tracking well. His big surge against lefties. He's killing it lefty-lefty. 286 average, 952 OPS. You can see that's reflected in his card. The key for me is that his versus righty needs to get boosted. He's hitting 281 with an 896 OPS against them. So why a couple of 50s there? That I don't get. And he is surging recently. Over the last 2 weeks, 4 homers, 1268 OPS with a 381 average. Even if you look at the last week, it's a little bit worse at 333 with an 875 OPS. So he did a lot in the week before then, but he's still maintaining quality work. Today he did go... He went 1 for 3 with a homer off of Jaime Barria, which is a righty. So he's helping out his cause for what we need him to do. So yeah, he's very much a hold for gold. I'm going to be getting in on some shares. You can see, as we've been looking, a lot of these silver prices are depressed. And I've got Kyle Tucker's actually one of the higher ones. I divested my bronze shares that went silver because I needed to finish some affinities. I had a couple affinities that were on the cusp of the 5 ball in his habit packs, and I decided to go ahead and trade his in. Even though I found he was close, I kind of regretted it, but I also see that I can buy back in under 500, so I'm not that concerned about it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, get a few more shares, probably get up to about 12 or 15 for me. Joe Smith, I don't even know if Joe Smith is pitching this year and how well he is. He has not hit my radar at all, and that would be because he's not pitching. Is Joe Smith hurt? We take a quick peek. Meanwhile, with Framber Valdez, such a maddening. Oh, he's on the restricted list. We opted out for the season. That's right. Yeah, so he's stuck where he is. Framber Valdez had the most frustrating outing today on Sunday. You're going to look at it, and you're going to be like, what the living hell? Dude pitched 7 innings, gave up 8 runs. That's such a weird thing to do. It's because... he came out for the 8th. He'd given up 5 through 7, which is not great, but okay. He grinded. He saved the bullpen. You give him the thumbs up and say thanks, right? You know, that's what you do when a guy does that for you, because he took it on the chin a little bit, but he grinded. He wasn't pitching so poorly that they had to take him out. Then comes the bottom of the... Wait the hell up, guys. I am so confused. No. Okay, I figured it out. Sorry. I was looking at the wrong thing. Pardon me. I'm a dipshit. So he comes out for the bottom of the 8th. Single. Out. Davinsky comes in. Walk. Foul out. Single. Puts on a few more runs onto Valdez's ledger. Why is he coming out for the 8th after 7 innings, 5 runs? Like, how could he have had that much more in the tank to do that? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Again, he pitched well enough to get you 7, despite giving up the 5 runs, because he really only had 1 bad inning. It was the 3rd inning. Young pitcher. There's no need to push him. It's just frustrating. Pardon the diatribe on this. Yes, it is fantasy related. Yes, I do have him on my main event team, and it pisses me off, okay? As far as him getting to gold, I think he is on a gold track potential. It's not the highest potential because he is 5 points away, but what you really can look at, even with today's crap outing, he did allow 11 hits in 7 earned, so that's really in 7 innings. In fact, let me do the math real quick, just because one bad outing like this can totally screw everything up. So that's 49 hits in 52 and a third. Yeah, that bumps his hit 9 up to 8.4 from 7.5, almost an entire hit per 9. So that really undercuts the growth that he was going to have. And that's how quickly things can happen in a small sample. which means though he could go and have some low hit games the rest of the way and boost it back, or bring the hit 9 back down. I think the K is still light at 68. I don't quite understand it. He's been at 8.3, 8.7, and 9.5 Ks. I feel like it should be higher. And then the walk rate, that's been his biggest improvement this year. And he only walked 2 today. So even in the crappy outing, he wasn't walking, guys. It was the hits. So I think this is where he gets his biggest gain, is in the BB9. And we go from there and hope that he can get into the 77, 78 range. And then if he closes with a few big starts, then I think he can get gold. So don't go crazy. Don't be doing, over 100 shares of Framber Valdez. But get yourself some shares. I think he's worth getting a handful of shares and deciding that, okay, keep an eye on him. If he continues to have good starts, if he bounces back from this rough start, I think he'll be good to go. But yeah, I think that's it. Is that it for the American League? Was Framber the last one? He was. We made it. How long? How many hours? 7 hours? Okay, not bad. Not bad. About an hour and a half. That's actually not too terrible to get through the entire American League. Talk about every single silver, at least a little bit. Some guys were kind of like, pass. But, okay. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I will do an NL version. I'll try to get that done before I go to my mom's. I got to go to my mom's on Tuesday. It's a quick trip. Tuesday, back Wednesday, just helping her move and everything. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this. Get those investments in. We can still make some stubs because there's going to be heat in the fall and winter. SDS has killed it with the content this year. They're not going to stop now. I know a lot of people are thinking that the Stage 4 Affinity is going to be finest. I don't think so. I think Stage 4 Affinity is going to be another just like baller card, like maybe awards. I could see it being an award card for every team, and then Finest will be its own separate thing. Why would they use Stage 4 as Finest and kind of smash that together when it's 2 separate opportunities to put out a shit ton of heat? I think they split it up. I think Stage 4 is its own thing. Again, maybe the awards, I think that's an idea that I like. And then Finest will be its own thing after the season, when they can decide who should be the finest for every team. So you're still going to need stubs to do affinity exchanges, to buy the cards you want, to buy Finest packs, to buy World Series rewards if you don't make World Series like this guy, to buy Battle Royale entries, or to buy Battle Royale cards that you like, whatever it is. We still need stubs. We still want to get the players that we want. And I know that toward the end of the year, some people get tired of grinding things out and they just want to fast pass. They want to just buy. So that's why you got to invest, that you build up your bankroll so that you can do that. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. You found some tips. Hopefully you hit big on some of your investments, and NL coming out soon. Thank you so much for watching. Hit a like, hit a subscribe, share this with some friends, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.